The rain started just after sunset, soft at first, then steady, like the sky was whispering secrets to the earth. Emma Carter stood alone in her childhood bedroom, staring at the white wedding dress hanging near the window. It moved slightly when the wind came through the open crack, like it was breathing. Tomorrow, she would become Emma Moore. Everyone said she was lucky. Daniel was kind, steady, and loved her deeply. But tonight, her heart felt restless, as if something unfinished was coming. She pressed her hand to her chest, trying to calm the... Downstairs, the house was quiet. Her mother had gone to sleep early, tired from wedding preparations. The old clock in the hallway ticked loudly, each second sounding heavier than the last. Walked slowly down the stairs, holding the railing like she might fall if she let go. Memories filled every corner of the home. Birthdays, laughter, tears, and dreams she once shared with people who were no longer part of her life. The smell of tea still floated in the air. Everything felt peaceful, yet her heart raced. Then came the knock. It was soft but clear, cutting through the silence like a sudden breath. Emma froze. No one was expected this late. For a moment, she thought she imagined it. Then the knock came again, slow and careful. Her pulse jumped. She walked toward the front door, each step heavy, as if something important waited on the other. Sighed when she opened it, rain rushed in with cool air. A tall man stood on the porch, soaked from the storm. For a second, Emma couldn't breathe. It was Lucas Bennett. Her first love, time seemed to fold in on itself. She saw him as he used to be, smiling beside her in high school halls, laughing during late-night drives, holding her hand when life felt scary. Then she saw the man in front of her, older, tired eyes full of feelings he had never said. "Emma," he said softly, his voice shaking. "I heard you're getting married tomorrow." Her heart pounded so loud she was sure he could hear it. "Yes," she whispered. "Lucas, what are you doing here?" He looked down at his wet shoes, then back at her face. "I left without explaining. I thought chasing my dreams was the right choice, but every year without you felt wrong. I tried to forget you. I couldn't." His eyes filled with emotion. "I never stopped loving you." The words hit her like thunder. She opened her mouth to speak, but before sound could come out, another knock echoed behind Lucas. Emma's breath caught. She stepped closer to the doorframe and looked past him. Second man stood there, rain falling on his shoulders. Michael Reed, her neighbor from childhood. The boy who always fixed broken things. The man who sat beside her at her father's funeral and never left her side during the hardest days of her life. "Michael," she whispered. He gave a small, nervous smile. "I'm sorry to come so late. I know tomorrow is your big day. But I couldn't sleep knowing I never told you how I felt." Her hands trembled. "You don't have to say anything," he continued gently. "I loved you quietly for years. I didn't want to get in the way of your happiness. But watching you walk into a life without knowing the truth was harder than staying silent." Tears burned in Emma's eyes. Two men from her past, standing in the rain, both holding feelings she thought were gone. Her mind spun. What is happening? She whispered. Before anyone could answer, a third knock sounded slower, deeper, almost painful. Emma's heart dropped. She slowly opened the door wider. There stood Andrew Collins, her former fiancé, the man she once planned a life with, the one she almost married before everything fell apart. They had loved fiercely, but work, distance, and pride slowly pulled them apart until the relationship broke in silence and regret. Emma Andrews said, his voice low and full of emotion. She nodded slowly, unable to speak. "I spent 3 years telling myself it was over," he continued. "I realized I never fought for you. And losing you was the biggest mistake of my life." Rain ran down his face, mixing with quiet tears. The world felt unreal. 3 men she once loved. 3 chapters of her life standing together in one moment. Her heart felt too full, too confused. Tomorrow, I'm getting married. We know, Lucas said quickly. We're not here to ruin anything, Michael nodded. We just needed you to hear us. Andrew stepped closer but kept his distance. Before you promise your life to someone else. Emma's chest rose and fell quickly. The clock inside the house ticked loudly, reminding her that time was moving forward whether she was ready or not. They followed her into the warm house, leaving puddles on the floor. The door closed slowly behind them, cutting off the rain, but not the emotions. Lucas spoke first, his voice low and serious. I left because I was afraid of being ordinary. I thought success would make me worthy of you. But all it did was take you away. Michael looked at the carpet. I told myself, your smile mattered more than my heart. But tonight I realized I was afraid to be brave. Andrew swallowed hard. I chose work. I chose comfort. I thought love would wait. It didn't. Each word pulled at Emma's heart. Every man carried regret. Every man carried love that never ended. Tears slipped down her cheeks. Marrying Daniel, she said softly. He loves me. He treats me with care. He's been there when life was calm and when it was hard. We know, Lucas said gently. We respect that, Michael added. We just couldn't stay silent anymore, Andrew whispered. The silence after that felt heavy but honest. Emma stared at the floor, breathing slowly. Tonight wasn't about choosing between them. It was about understanding her own heart. She realized something clear through the chaos. The past had shaped her, but it no longer owned her. The love she was walking toward was steady, not painful. Her voice trembled but stayed strong. Thank you for telling me, she said. You all mattered to me. You always will. But my life is moving forward now. They nodded, each fighting. One by one, they stepped back toward the door. Lucas gave a sad smile. Michael wiped his eyes quietly. Andrew looked at her like he was memorizing her face. When the door closed behind them, the house became silent again. Emma leaned against it, tears falling freely. Her heart hurt, but it also felt lighter. The storm outside continued, but inside something had settled. She looked toward the stairs where her wedding dress waited in the soft light. Tomorrow, a new chapter would begin. But tonight, the past had finally spoken and been gently laid to rest, and somewhere deep in her heart, Emma knew this night would stay with her forever. The living room felt smaller once the door closed and the rain was left outside. The air was warm, but tension filled every corner. Emma stood near the window, arms wrapped around herself, while the three men she once loved stood quietly, unsure. Where to look? The ticking clock on the wall sounded louder than before, like it was counting down something important. No one spoke. Then Lucas took a step forward. His voice was soft but steady. I should never have left the way I did, he said. I thought building a big future would fix everything. I thought I could come back when life was perfect. But life kept moving and I lost you in the process. But every success felt empty without you. I kept thinking of the girl who laughed in the passenger seat of my old car, the one who believed in me before I believed in myself. I loved you in a different way, he said gently. I loved you in quiet moments, fixing your broken bike, carrying your... I told myself real love was about letting you be happy even if it wasn't with me. Every time you smiled, it felt enough. But tonight I realized silence was slowly breaking my heart. I needed you to know the truth. Before you walked into a new life, Andrew took a deep breath. His voice carried regret. I loved you fiercely, he said, but I was scared of slowing down. I kept chasing promotions, bigger projects, more money. I thought love would always be there waiting. One day you were tired of waiting. Emma remembered the nights Andrew came home late, the promises of tomorrow, the empty dinners. I didn't fight for you when I should have, he said quietly. And losing you taught me what really matters. I'm not here to beg. I'm here to own my mistake. The room fell. Silent again. Emma felt emotions rise like waves. Each man represented a different time in her life. Lucas was her dreamer phase. Michael was her comfort. Andrew was her passion mixed with pain. She walked slowly to the center of the room. Listening to you hurts. She said softly, not because I don't care, but because I do. Their eyes followed her. You were all important to me, she continued. Lucas, you taught me how to believe in love. Michael, you taught me what kindness looks like. Andrew, you taught me how deep feelings can go. Okay. Tears rolled down her cheeks, but her voice stayed strong. But I also learned something from each heartbreak. She turned toward the window where rain slid down the glass. I spent years feeling pulled between what was exciting and what was safe, she said. I kept thinking love had to be painful to be real. She slowly faced them again. Daniel showed me something different. He shows up. He listens. He doesn't leave when things get hard. He doesn't make me feel like I'm chasing love. Lucas lowered his head. Michael closed his eyes briefly. Andrew nodded slowly. I didn't know love could feel peaceful, Emma said. But with him, it does. Her chest rose as she breathed deeply. Tonight helped me see clearly, she whispered. Not because you came back, but because I finally understand what my heart truly wants. They waited, silent. I'm choosing my future, Emma said. And my future is with Daniel. The words felt heavy but right. Lucas wiped his face quietly. I always hoped you'd be happy, he said. Michael smiled through tears. You deserve peace. Andrew exhaled slowly. I'm proud of you for choosing what's right for you. Emma walked toward each man and hugged them gently. Lucas held her for a moment. Thank you for loving me once, Michael whispered. You'll always be special to me. Andrew said softly, I'll carry you in my heart, but I'll let you go. They moved toward the door together when it opened. The rain had slowed to a soft drizzle. One by one, they stepped outside. Turning back for one last look, Emma stood in the doorway, tears shining in her eyes, but a calm settled in her chest. When the door closed, silence filled the house again. But this silence felt different. It felt peaceful. Emma leaned against the door and let out a deep breath. The storm outside was fading. The clock continued ticking. But now it sounded gentle, not heavy. She walked upstairs slowly, each step lighter than before. In her room, the wedding dress still hung near the window. Glowing softly in the early morning light, she touched the fabric. Carefully, a small smile appeared on her lips, for the first time in weeks. She felt sure, not scared, not confused, just ready. She lay on the bed and closed her eyes, thinking of Daniel's warm smile, his steady hands, his quiet love. The night that began with chaos had ended with clarity. Sometimes a heart needs the past to speak before it can move forward. Outside, clouds slowly parted. A pale sunrise colored the sky. A new day was beginning, and tomorrow, Emma would walk toward a life built not on regret, but on love that stayed. The night before, her vows had brought storms, truths, and tears, but it also brought peace, and that peace told her she had chosen right.